The US is so scared of BRICS. Why? BRICS, a group of just 5 countries, is set to become the most powerful organization in the world by 2035, surpassing EU, WTO, and even the UN. This shift is causing major concerns in the West. BRICS, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is growing rapidly. These countries have big populations, fast-growing economies, and lots of natural resources. Together, they represent over 40% of the world's people and nearly a quarter of the global economy. BRICS can change the global economy. Their combined power challenges Western countries. They aim to make global financial rules fairer, support growth, and improve trade. By 2035, BRICS could lead global economic policies, becoming more influential than EU, WTO, and UN. What does this mean for the US? Rising fears of losing economic dominance, higher prices, and an uncertain future. Want to know how BRICS got so powerful and what they're planning next? Let's get started. BRICS started back in 2009 with Brazil, Russia, India, and China joining forces. South Africa came on board in 2010, completing the group. These countries united to form a powerful alliance of emerging economies, aiming to create a counterbalance to Western-dominated organizations like the IMF and World Bank. They didn't want to be just followers. They wanted to shape global policies themselves, promoting peace, security, and development. These countries are big players with massive economies and rapid growth. They've even set up their own bank, the New Development Bank, to fund their projects without relying on Western institutions like the IMF or World Bank. This makes them more independent and boosts their global influence. By sticking together, BRICS can strike better trade deals and have a louder voice in global affairs, challenging the traditional powers like the US and Europe. With only 5 countries on board, BRICS seemed no match for the G7. But last year, everything changed. Now, the US is nervous, and the world is watching. What happened? Let's find out. So, what caused this big shift? Last year, BRICS made a bold move that shocked the world. They opened their doors to new members. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Argentina, and Egypt showed interest in joining. This expansion isn't just about numbers, it's about increasing their global influence. More countries in BRICS mean a stronger collective voice in world affairs, from trade to security. This growth directly challenges the G7, which includes the US, Canada, the UK, France, Germany, Italy, and Japan. With more countries joining, BRICS could rival the G7, the group of major Western economies. This expansion means BRICS can control more of the world's resources, including vital commodities like oil and gas, and dominate key trade routes. The fear is real if BRICS keeps growing. It could reshape global power dynamics and challenge the economic and political dominance of the West. For the US and its G7 allies, this could mean a significant loss of influence and control over international policies and markets. The stakes are high, and the impact on global stability and economic policies could be profound. The US is hitting Russia with tough sanctions, aiming to cripple its economy. But will these sanctions really work? Could they weaken BRICS, or will they backfire and make BRICS even stronger? To understand why US sanctions on Russia are a big deal, we need to know what sanctions are. Think of them as big punishments countries use to make other countries change their behavior. The US has used sanctions against countries like Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, and Cuba to hurt their economies and force them to change. Sometimes these sanctions work, but other times they don't have the desired effect. Now, the US is using sanctions to try and cripple Russia's economy. But Russia is not a small country. It holds veto power in the UN Security Council, controls about 12% of the world's crude oil supply, and about 8% of the world's LNG supplies. Additionally, Russia has strong friends in BRICS who might help it survive these sanctions. The US wants to hurt Russia's economy with these sanctions, aiming to reduce its power and influence. However, Russia's close ties with BRICS countries like China and India provide it with crucial economic support. These BRICS countries can offer trade, financial aid, and resources to Russia, helping it weather the sanctions. If the sanctions fail, BRICS could emerge stronger, showcasing their ability to support each other against Western pressures. This could shift global power, making BRICS more influential and reducing the dominance of Western countries like the US and its G7 allies. It could lead to higher prices and economic challenges for the US and its allies, affecting everything from energy prices to international trade. Saudi Arabia has agreed to join BRICS. To hit the US even harder, Saudi still hasn't renewed the petrodollar agreement. What does this mean for the future? Do you like this video? What are you waiting for? Smash that like button and subscribe to become our ducklings. With Saudi Arabia agreeing to join BRICS and delaying the renewal of the petrodollar agreement, the dynamics of global power are shifting dramatically. The petrodollar system, established in the 1970s, means oil is traded in US dollars, boosting the dollar's value and cementing the US's economic dominance. Saudi Arabia holds about 17% of the global crude oil market, making its decisions crucial for global economics. Additionally, the US has historically guaranteed Saudi Arabia's safety in exchange for its commitment to the petrodollar system. Now, Saudi Arabia's hesitation to renew this 50-year-old deal signals a major change. If Saudi Arabia ditches the petrodollar system, it could drastically weaken the dollar's role in global trade. The petrodollar system has long supported the US dollar, giving the US significant control over global markets. If Saudi Arabia moves away from the system, demand for US dollars could plummet, severely impacting the American economy. This shift would empower BRICS, giving them more leverage over global oil markets and financial systems. With the combined crude oil production of Saudi Arabia and Russia, BRICS could become the largest economic bloc capable of controlling crude oil prices. Higher oil prices, increased economic uncertainty, and a shift in global power dynamics could follow, potentially reducing Western influence and increasing BRICS' strength on the world stage. This potential shift also raises questions about the future of US-Saudi relations and the stability of US guarantees for Saudi security. With Iran now joining BRICS, the power balance in global oil production is changing in a big way. Iran has around 9% of the world's crude oil reserves. When you add Russia's 12% and Saudi Arabia's 17%, these three countries together control about 38% of the world's oil supply. In comparison, the US controls about 20%. This means BRICS, with its new member Iran, now has a huge influence over the global oil market. It's ironic because most countries in BRICS have problems with the US and many of them are currently sanctioned by the US. Iran joining BRICS, with the support of Russia and China, is a major move that could change how countries interact and do business. This new team-up gives BRICS a lot of power over global oil prices. They can make fuel and energy more expensive worldwide. For the US and its friends, this means dealing with a much stronger BRICS group that can challenge their rules and strategies. Countries that rely on buying oil from others might face higher prices and more uncertainty. Even though the US produces a lot of oil, about 20% of the world's supply, it might still struggle with the competition and market changes. The rise of BRICS could also mean less power for Western financial systems and new rules that favor emerging economies. The BRICS summit is coming up in Russia, hosted by Sergei Lavrov. With such a strong lineup, How will BRICS leverage this new strength to push their global plans? And can OPEC still control the oil price? The upcoming BRICS summit in Russia, hosted by Sergei Lavrov, is set to be explosive. They are plotting moves that could shake the world economy. With Iran joining, BRICS now controls 38% of the global oil supply. They are discussing central bank digital currencies, CDBCs, that could sidestep traditional financial systems like SWIFT, dealing a blow to Western economic control. The possible inclusion of Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, and Brunei could make BRICS unstoppable. This summit isn't just a meeting, it's a strategic war room against Western dominance. This summit is a game changer. BRICS is challenging the U.S. and its allies head-on. Their new CDBCs could weaken the dollar's dominance, allowing member countries to trade without relying on U.S.-controlled systems. Adding more Southeast Asian nations means even more power to control global markets. If successful, Western influence could crumble, leading to skyrocketing oil prices and economic turmoil for countries dependent on current systems. This shift could result in a new world order, where BRICS nations call the shots, leaving the U.S. and its allies scrambling to maintain their influence. How will all of this impact ordinary U.S. citizens? Will it lead to higher prices, job losses, and financial instability? What will happen to our lives and our families? Watch this next video and I'll see you there.